All right, welcome everyone. We're going to be talking about the Winter 23-24 Blood Bowl League at Dice Dojo. Wanted to build a little bit of a primer because I saw there's a number of questions coming in. We have a number of new players. Speaking of players, we have 24 players for this league, which is absolutely insane. Almost 100% increase from the last winter league where we had about like 13 players. In spring, we had, I think, 15, 16, if I recall correctly. And when we started doing this again in person, I think we had 8 players. So to see 24 this winter year season is really, really cool. So let's talk a little bit about what to expect. The big thing I wanted to show, besides covering a little bit of the rules, is TourPlay. It is a great web application that we're using to manage the league. We have some neat integrations with our Discord channel as well, so you can kind of get up to the minute play-by-play recaps of games that are occurring and being entered into TourPlay. I wanted to simulate what that looks like between two players, and in fact, I have a game already set up for us. So I'm going to be playing both players in this example here, but kind of wanted to demonstrate that both players are required in order to do this, and it kind of show kind of like what tour play does for you. So when we hit start here, it's going to wait for your opponent to also hit start on the match. Um, TourPlay has this really neat logging, and you can see here it already actually rolled weather for us. You do not have to use the weather that TourPlay rolls. You can roll your fans in real time with real dice, as well as your weather, and do everything kind of like manage. The real key thing that we want you to be logging into TourPlay is stuff like foul attempts, uh, casualties that you cause with players, injuries that your players have sustained, touchdowns, successful passes, because all of those successful things generally will reward you with star player points. And in addition, there are a lot of like meta awards that Tour Play will keep track of, like one of which being most dirty player. So the number of fouls that you record directly correlate to your standings in each of these things. So weather has been rolled, like mentioned. You can see the start of the match. It is kind of waiting for us to begin here. The player that I have in the stream is the Amazon team. This is D2 B2 League. And then the other player is my primary account doing these test dwarfs. Um, I mentioned we're doing some timing tracking. You can see in the top right hand corner here, underneath the player icon, is the total game length. Whoever is going first or is rolling off, or basically has the first turn receiving the ball in the first half, will hit start turn. It's totally okay if you mess this up. It does not matter. It's mostly just if you want to keep track of how long your turns are taking, and you want to get closer to the ideal kind of 4 minute and 30-second time per turn, this is a great way to kind of track your progress over time. In a league setting, I would always recommend talking with your opponent to kind of like get an understanding of how much time they have available to play. So that way you can always play to that specific time. But most people are going to be very flexible and friendly. So as long as you're kind of communicating like, hey, it might take longer because I'm new, that's definitely not going to be a problem. So we're going to assume in this instance that the test is on team has won the priority role and is choosing to receive the ball first. The test dwarf team is going to set up on defense. The kickoff event will happen. Roll as normal. You don't have to log that into tour play, thankfully. And when the Amazon team is ready, kickoff event has occurred. The ball is on the field or maybe caught by a player. It is their turn one, and they would start the turn. And you can see here that the turn has begun, and turn one is going through. Uh, in our game, we're going to have a very event-driven game here, and we'll say like right off the bat, because maybe you get lucky like this. one of your players causes a casualty against your opponent. So on the line, we'll say our Eagle line woman, number one here, I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce that name here, caused a casualty. You, as the primary player, are going to log the events that happen for your players. Alternatively, the other player here is going to log the type of injury that was sustained. So let's say the dwarf here is going to sustain a bad injury roll. I'm not showing you this currently because it's going to be happening on a different screen, but very similarly, there's going to be a player list and injury roll. I'll do the very same on the Amazon side so we can see what both views look like here in just a moment. So I'm going to go ahead and select my dwarf player that was injured after selecting the type of injury they sustained. And you can see here in the log that the other player has logged what has happened to their player. If you record a badly hurt, the player is going to be available for the next game. If you record a seriously hurt, they're going to miss the next game. And TourPlay is going to do all these updates for you on your behalf. So the roster management becomes super easy. This particular game is an exhibition one, so we won't kind of see the longer effects of a particular game. But Milan and Andrew just recently completed a game, and if you go to the fixtures page in week one, you'll see that completed game. Totally recommend clicking on that and clicking on the team page. You'll be able to kind of see what those details look like post game and what the updates look like on that team. All right. So we're also going to record a casualty on the dwarf side, but let's go ahead and end our turn so we can believe that. So it's now the dwarf's turn, and they, roll some block dice back and also cause a casualty. So we'll say dwarf number 5 was the lucky casualty maker here, and we need to record who that dwarf injured on the Amazon team's end. So like I mentioned, this screen pops up, and the first thing you want to do is pick the type of injury. It has all of the different types here, and I would recommend just go ahead and using this one column. There's a second column here. It's likely for the reroll for the apothecary, but to keep things simple in your games, I would go ahead and roll your D16 result, and if you have an apothecary and are choosing to use it, reroll that, and just record whatever your result is this first time. So let's say in this instance, we got a worse result than badly hurt. We're going to get an NI, which is going to increase our propensity to get injured and also cause us to miss the next game. And we'll say that's going to be on our prized thrower. And that, again, is just we're recording what happened. In the game, dwarf number 5 caused a casualty and is going to receive 2 SPP. And as a result, this player is the one who's receiving the casualty, and the result is that NI detractor point. So cool. That is a good example of kind of like how turns work and how to record casualties and injuries. What about a foul? Well, all I need to do is click this little plus and pencil icon, which I've been clicking all this time and just now and bring it to your attention. This also exists on the mobile web version of this application as well. So just click this button down here. And again, you have all of the different events that we would like you to record during your game. Recording this makes it fun for the people who are spectating either through the match channel results on TourPlay specifically. And again, there are some meta rewards within TourPlay and stats. And who doesn't love stats? So we foul. We're very upset about the injury caused against our thrower, and Herberima, I believe, is going to attempt to foul. Now, we always know that fouls may not be successful. And so let's say in this instance, no injuries caused, maybe a stun at best. But unfortunately, we may have rolled a double in this foul attempt, either on the armor roll or on the injury roll. Well, we might get sent off. And after arguing the call, if we do indeed get sent off, we want to record it as such. So We try arguing the call and we roll a two. The ref doesn't see it our way, and the player is then sent off. That would, of course, end the turn. And again, we want to keep track of all these items here. It helps gamify the actual event. All right, same thing with completions, passes, and interference. So you only log passes if they are successfully completed. You definitely want to log interferences if they occur as well, but you'll notice there's no like pass attempt, which is a little confusing. Just want to throw a pass. You're going to say like, hey, my player here is successful. And you can see that these screens are all very similar, right? The main idea is that something occurs in your game, click here, see if there's anything related that you will want to log in the actual TourPlay interface, and you should be good to go. And the other key thing is that both players need to be doing this. One player can definitely, alternate hitting start turn. What I recommend is, whoever hits it first, ask the other player to hit the start turn to begin their turn. Helps reduce confusion. Sometimes the app doesn't fully sync, and the start turn, gets out of sync, out of whack. That is less important. The big thing here is logging these events in order to make sure that your roster is up to date. I'm going to pause here for a second just to see if there has been anyone that has entered the chat. I'm assuming not, but I definitely don't want to miss any questions that might have come up while I was prattling. So take a look here at this. And the other thing to kind of keep in mind too about tour play, especially if you're showing up on Sundays, a lot of other players are going to be available and ready and willing to help you out. So if you have any questions, just ask me or anyone else in the dojo. There's going to be someone who's familiar with how we do things as far as Blood Bowl is concerned and happy to lend a hand. All right, cool. So didn't miss anything on the question side. And I think that really covers it for tour play. There are individual screens on your team management section that you can go through in order to manage your players, increase skills. Again, if you ever have any questions, let me know. And I'll talk about, and also with my admin access, if there's any mistakes as far as uh, errors that occurred, or let's say you recorded a casualty and you actually didn't do it, and the game has already been recorded and ended, happy to make adjustments. Not a problem, definitely within reason. Um, so in this winter league, the last winter league we had, the Gits out of nowhere came as a dark horse in the knockout rounds and won the league overall. Doing so has attracted the presence of the Bad Moon. And so, in order to respect the champions of the last league, we are introducing a special rule for every game you play for the duration of the league: the favor of the Bad Moon. So at the beginning of the match, the team with the lowest total team value is going to roll a d6, and based on that roll, one of these six effects is going to happen. Uh, I think this is going to be a lot of fun. This is not necessarily a bad thing for only one player. It can be a great thing for both players, or it can be a bad thing for both players. Very similar to kind of like a knuckle prayer, if you will. And the idea is to kind of like make this fun and very casual. So we have D1, a result of a one on the dice roll is going to be the bad moon watching, and that's going to make fouling very difficult. Basically, anytime you foul, regardless of the result. So if you don't roll a double, or if you roll singles, the ref is going to spot it. I am going to add a clarification right now that Sneaky Git is also included in this. It's going to be very similar to running a biased referee who rolled a 5 plus. So basically, you're going to foul, you're going to risk getting spot. A caveat to this is that you may not argue this call with your coach, but if you have a bribe available, definitely feel free to spend it because the Bad Moon also accepts cash money. Second thought, Sneaky Git will not be impacted by this. I think he could be sufficiently sneaky from the Bad Moon. So you heard it here. I'll make sure to clarify if it ever does come up. You can refer to this video and make me eat my own words, but I won't penalize Sneaky Git only because bias ref exists, and if you truly want to punish Sneaky Git, that's how you do it. Cool. Dice roll of a 2 is going to be the bad moon leaves. The bad moon is going to take off. Figured we get a fun result on a 2 plus, and each coach is going to get $10,000 extra dollars at the end of the match. This is going to be one of the results that you're going to want to let me know about that you received. So that way I can go in and give you an extra $10,000 in your team page. So that's going to have to be an admin specific bonus. On a result of a 3, the bad moon is going to shine and it's going to make passing and receiving handoff much more difficult. So to clarify this, if you're going to be making a pass roll using the pass skill, the player throwing the ball is going to be at a -1 to that pass action roll. For a player receiving a handoff or receiving the ball through a handoff action, they're going to get a -1 against their agility. In the passing action, there's a catching player as well. That catch does not suffer penalty, but only for this specific rule. This rule will also stack with any weather effects. So if it's raining, blizzard, really sunny, anything that's going to affect passing or pickup or ball interactions, you're going to want to make this consideration on top of that if the bad moon is shining. On a result of a 4, the bad moon's going to laugh and everyone's going to lose their 1 reroll. I feel like that is a nod to the halfling master chef, but again, everyone suffers. It's not just the halflings benefiting. A 5 on the dice roll for the bad moon table. Secret weapons are going to get a +1 to argue the call, and on a 6, we are going to add in the special rule we had last year, where players are going to get 2 SPP for casualties caused by fouls, crowd surfing, and special block actions like chainsaw, bomb, so forth. We did this winter last year. It was a lot of fun, but probably not like the most balanced thing long term. So this will be a way to kind of access that a little bit randomly throughout the game and in order to support some of the stunty teams that might need it. But make sure that like everyone gets a little bit of fun on occasion. Awesome. And then the other rather special rule, they're all extra special, but the final special rule that we have for this league is the blocks from summers past. The big thing here is that if you played in our Summer Sevens league, which was our most recent league we had, and you're running a team that you can recruit a player from, basically. So if you played previously a humans team, if you can recruit a human lineman in your current team that you're playing, you will have access to your former team's roster from Summer Sevens for recruitment. Now, this is going to happen during week 4. We're going to be following the mercenaries special rules within the core rulebook when it comes to hiring. So they're definitely going to be coming at a premium, but they will be a permanent add to your roster. If you want to pursue this and you are a player who played again in our Summer Sevens event, please get with me and we can talk about, I can re-share your roster with you so you can take a look to see who's available on your team to recruit. And we can discuss what that costs. And we'll do some fanfare around that as well when that happens. Awesome. So the other thing I wanted to cover here was a little bit about league pacing and the scheduling. Let me actually go ahead and in another screen, I'm going to bring up the actual TourPlay league here. Give me 1 second. So if you go over to our winter league here, under the fixtures is where you can find the schedule. It's a little bit backwards because this is I'm pretty sure a British-based website company, publisher, developer, however you want to say it. But fixtures is where you see what you're scheduled for, and calendar is where you go to see matches that have been scheduled. Um, so weeks 1 through 8, or match days 1 through 8 here, are your actual assigned matches for the league. So this is kind of like your one game a week minimum participation for the league. Not saying you have to participate all 8 weeks of the league. Obviously, things come up. But if you're kind of like wanting to know from a week to week basis what you have coming up, who you're going to be playing, these are the matches for the 8 weeks that will be running the league. When you get over here to match day 9 through 16, these are your optional matches. So some players want to get more than one game in a week, and we want to encourage people playing more Blood Bowl. So each week, you basically have access to 9 through 16 to schedule an extra match. You're not required to do week 1 and week 9, week 8, match day 2 and match day 10. Uh, that's going to probably be a little bit too difficult to schedule. Basically, match days 9 through 16 give you 8 additional players to reach out to, make friends with, and see if they potentially have some time for an extra game this week or next week. The big thing here that we want to keep in mind is that we want to maintain a pacing. So what I ask and humbly request of you is that you please only schedule a max of 2 games for the first week, and we're going to increment that by 2 each of the following weeks through week 8. So what that means is for week 1, starting on December 10th, you'll be able to play week 1 match, and you'll get 1 additional optional game looking at match days 9 through 16. Uh, the expectation is that you're completing and recording only 2 matches at maximum. When week 2 rolls around, you will have a maximum threshold that will increase by 2. So that 2 max that we expect will go to 4. And when I say expect is that we wouldn't want you to exceed that. Um, let's say you don't play at all week 1. Let's say you don't play at all week 2. Let's say you don't play until week 4. That means you'll have 8 matches available to you to satisfy your weeks 1 through 4, which again are the ones that we would like you to prioritize, since they are the main scheduled matches. But you have 4 additional matches out of your 9 to 16 weeks match days in order to schedule. The reason why we do this is to kind of like prevent scaling. I don't know about you, but I get very excited when Blood Bowl comes around. And if I could get all of my match days 9 through 16 crammed in within a 2 week period, you bet I would. And that makes it very difficult for other coaches to meet you on the pitch when you have maybe an additional 2 to 3 games extra on them. Inducements and petty cash do a pretty good job of evening things out. But especially if you're newer, the spending of petty cash can be a little bit tricky. So definitely encourage our seasoned veterans on the Blood Bowl field to uh, provide some options or provide some suggestions when it comes to spending petty cash. Um, in order to make it a more fair game. But this is just an extra step that we're taking to make sure that, especially from a skill standpoint, you're not going up against an unmovable foe or someone who just and completely annihilates you from the get-go. That might happen naturally at even levels. So, especially when experience and stuff comes into play, it can get a lot trickier. So that is the feedback on the match and the league pacing. Um, of course, let me know if you have any questions when these things come up. I'll be trying to monitor the number of matches that have been recorded. I will kindly reach out to let you know you might be scaling a little bit too high. But again, the intent here is to make sure that everyone is somewhat on the equal playing level week to week. Um, but if someone falls behind naturally, someone falls behind naturally, and maybe ends up better in some way. Um, But yeah, reach out if you have any questions on the league pacing, post comments within the Discord thread. Everyone is here to help. Excellent. I think that is basically it. Want to cover prizes real quick because that's always fun. We have these wonderful trophies that the community helped get. And when I say the community, specifically Jason and Hayden had helped out in getting these trophies along with myself. We might add more at a certain point. Dice Dojo has been very kind to build space for us to display these in the basement. And they have legacy posts, so we'll be adding the name of the victors for the league. In order to get your name added to these trophies, we're looking for the coach and the team with the most touchdowns, with the most casualties, and then the coach and team in the last position will be awarded the big bowl, and will join the esteemed at the bottom of the bowl, if you will. Some special prizes that we have. We are very big on doing some door prizes this first week. If you complete a match by the 14th, I believe I said, you're going to be entered into a drawing for a GW Halfling pitch. We'll do similar giveaways throughout the league itself. But any first-time Blood Bowl players that have never played Blood Bowl with us before at Dice Dojo in a league setting are going to get entered into a drawing. They're going to receive an official Blood Bowl team box. Or if they already have a team and they don't want anything extra, we will award them a Blood Bowl rulebook, core rulebook. It's an either or. If the player wants to graciously pass it on to the next person, we'll move it on to the next person. But I think this is a great way to either build up the next team that you might want to play. If you're borrowing one of the teams downstairs, this is a great way to secure your own. Or, get a book and become even more astute behind the rules. Any coaches who had brought any new players. So if you're a new player and you brought a referral, or you're an existing player and you brought a referral, we will enter you into a drawing to receive a Blood Bowl pitch from Match by Mars. It's a pitch we use pretty regularly downstairs. A lot of players use these mats as well. Very great mats, and that way it encourages you and your friend to get more games in when you're not playing at the Dice Dojo. And then something I wanted to do for the overall top position of the league. Sometimes the top position is not the person who got the most touchdowns. It always comes down to a point spread. I think we should be fine this league depending on how things shake out with the extra points, which I'll cover here in a second as well. But you'll be awarded one of the special metal Blood Bowl exhibition trophies. They are to scale. I have one with me. Let me grab this here right now. Boom. I can't get a good. Yeah, very small. All right. Cool. But yeah, metal miniature, they work great as turn markers and will strike fear and intimidation into any foe you come across. So looking forward to that. Finally, we'll talk a little bit about scores, league scoring. All right. So the other final thing to mention is how we're scoring this league, and this is also already set up within TourPlay. So as you finish your matches, TourPlay will tally your league points automatically for us, which is a great convenience. Really helps manage leagues at this scale, especially. So if you win, you get 3 points. If you get a draw, you get 1 point. You get 0 points for a loss. Sorry. You'll at least still get money and you'll get experience points and MVP points, but you won't get any league points. If you get 3 or more touchdowns, we're going to award you 2 extra points. That is a quite the feat, and you should get rewarded thusly for it. You'll additionally get 1 point for casualty. I am unsure if TourPlay counts all casualties. I'm assuming they're counting a casualty logged. Probably through the casualty action. So I'm assuming fouls would not count. All right. And then the final thing here is if you don't concede any touchdowns, or basically the opponent doesn't score any touchdowns against you, you also get a point. So in the event that you tie 1-1, but the score is 0-0, it's a great game of defense by both teams. So you deserve a little bit more than, a 1-1 tie, maybe. All right. Cool. These scorings very much mirror the Super Bowl. So if you're going to Adepticon this year, that's going to be very similar. All right. That is basically it for this preview for the Winter Blood Bowl League at the Dice Dojo. Very excited to get that going with everybody. Again, we're going to be starting in 2 days. Can't wait to see you all in the basement on the pitch. And again, let me know if you have any questions. Just reach out to me on Discord. I'm Wallace. And yeah, we'll see you all soon.